everyone. This is Deniz Beser, founder and the director of Fanzineist Vienna Art Book and Zine Fair. I would like to welcome you to live talk. In this evening, George Gibson will be our guest artist and publisher for this talk. And now I would like to give a small introduction about her. George Grace Gibson is an artist and bookmaker born 1995 in Sunderland, United Kingdom, and now based in Manchester. She is one of the members of Bairns. Bairns is an art and publishing collective, and it's a collaborative practice of artists, designers, and creators. Izzy Croise, Erin Blamire, Eleanor Haswell, and George Gibson. Since 2016, they have been working together on a responsive program of zines, workshops, and exhibitions. Bairns are an artist collective interested in the intersections of contemporary art and bookmaking and the activation of projects within the space. And their practice aims to create more of a conversation between artist, creator, exhibition and artwork, and viewer and reader. Print runs through the core of the practice, utilizing zines, print workshops and installations to create collaborative works. And now I'm gonna invite George to our live talk. Hello.
Hi. Hi,
How are
sorry,
you?
I was struggling with getting on there.
That's fine, no problem.
I was really was enjoying you reading our bio, though it always sounds so much more professional if someone else reads what you've written.
Yeah.
I was listening to it thinking, oh yeah, we sound quite good there actually.
I was trying my best with my broken English.
No, you actually, you know what, you did really well with the name, because we get a lot of people. Our name Bairns comes from a saying that's really like this really local saying in the northeast of England that is Bairns getting out, which means it's like shy kids wouldn't get sweets. So like,
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like if you don't ask for something, you won't get it. But yeah, I was really impressed that you said Bairns straight away, because we get even people just in like London or something say it wrong. So yeah, it smashed it.
I just try to catch that right pronunciation. I hope I could do that.
Perfect.
Actually, I was wondering about the story of the Bairns, and it was good to hear from you.
Yeah, so we originally formed. We're all from the northeast of England. So there's as you said, there's me, Erin, Izzy, and Ellie. And me and Ellie went to sixth form together. That's how we met. And then we went on from sixth form in Durham to do a foundation degree in a city called Sunderland in the northeast of England. And that's where all four of us met. And we started making zines kind of at the end of that year as an excuse to hang out with each other, because it's only a 1-year course, the foundation degrees, and we kind of hadn't quite made friends properly yet by the end of the course, but we like really wanted to. So we started doing a zine project together just as an excuse to hang out kind of after uni, not after uni, but after that first foundation degree. And
it's a great purpose to meet.
Yeah. Yeah. And Bairns was a name that we came up with just because it's something that all of our like my grandma always says, that it's just something that we've been brought up saying. And coming from kind of smaller towns in the northeast, I think that was something that really we felt in terms of opportunities and stuff like that if we don't ask for these opportunities, we're not going to get them. So yeah, that's where the name comes from.
Okay, by the way, were you the kid, that Bairns kid, when you were a small kid? I mean,
yeah, so yeah, all from that. And I think I don't know, I think with naming things sometimes, I don't know, I remember setting up bands in school and you'd spend the entire time thinking about a name, and then within a week you'd be like, that's so cringe, But I've never really felt that with Shy Bairns. I think the names worked really well for us. Yeah,
If you want now, you can take your time and you can just talk about your zines, and then I can ask my questions to you.
yeah, sure.
Or
Yeah,
I
I'll
can
just
just directly ask lots of questions
yeah,
to you right now. It doesn't matter for me. All
yeah,
is fine.
sure. I'm kind of like looking to the side because I've just got some notes. I'm more used to doing these talks with an image, not just my face on
Yeah.
camera. Um, so I'm just looking to the side a bit. So yeah, for everyone that's listening who just heard that bit, that's how we started off from foundation year, just kind of looking for a reason to hang out.
When did you meet with zines, and do you remember the first zines that you bought?
You know, it's kind of funny because I think a lot of the time with self-publishing, you kind of don't realize you're doing it when you're doing it. So even when I was in like primary school, I used to make little books and hand them out to kids on the playground about Doctor Who, which were obviously at the time I didn't know the word fanzine, but that kind of is exactly what a fanzine is. Um,
Yeah.
so I think I've always been kind of interested in that kind of stuff. But the first zine that we made together was one that was about, it was like 12 other artists. So there was a load of other artists on our foundation year. And we were doing experiments with print. And at the time, I was like really into making, me and Ellie were both into ceramics. Uh,
Wow.
so I made like this work about how ceramic students don't understand printmaking and stuff, and then I don't think I ever did ceramics again.
By the way, I was also studying ceramic and glass design.
Ah,
I just
nice,
graduated from ceramic and glass
nice.
design department
Ah,
in
nice.
Fine
Yeah,
Arts Academy.
nice. Our
But I was always working on painting and
yeah,
zines or video art. So I just gave up to do ceramic. It was taking so much time.
yeah. It is. It is. The foundation year that we did was at the National Glass Centre in Sunderland. So they had gorgeous facilities, but they also had a risograph. So I got swayed by that. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, we made that scene, and it was kind of just, you know, it's just about print, it's just experimentation. And then the first one, that one we made just before we started calling ourselves Shy Bairns. And when we started actually deciding we wanted to make this like publishing group, the four of us, we published 2 volumes that were self-titled, and it was open submission for artists based in the north of England. So I think that really goes back to like what I was saying earlier about this. If you don't ask for something, you won't get it. At the start, we were really trying to make like this space for artists from the north of the UK. And yeah, we did 2 of them, and then we started moving on to more like workshop based things. So in a dream world where 2020 didn't happen, we'd be in Vienna right now running a workshop for you, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
this would be great. This would be
Yeah.
really great. But unfortunately, we
Yeah.
cannot do that.
Unfortunately, we're here. Well, this is good anyway. Um, so yeah, so we started getting commissions to do zine workshops, and we're quite like a friendly bunch, and we really like collaborating with people. And while we were kind of collaborating with people in the first zines because we were collecting other people's artworks and like nudging our mates to make something for it, I think the workshops are just so much more collaborative because you're there while people are making the work. And we've done different ones. We started off making ones still about like the north and about stereotypes in the north of England, and then we made some about libraries and how kind of people our age, maybe that I know anyway, don't use libraries too much, but we all have our own libraries. So people brought in their own collections of things.
That's great.
That, yeah,
That's a
that
great
was
approach.
yeah, it was really fun. Some guy just brought in loads of sticks, and I was like, "You've definitely forgot to bring anything, and you've just found them on your way in." But we got lots of like magnet collections and people's iTunes and stuff like that.
I love it.
Um, so yeah, so we were kind of like workshop based for a while, which is really fun, but it was a lot of kind of publishing other people's work. And then in 2019, there was 2 projects we worked on that we were really like, oh, I really love this, I want to do this. And it was, we had a commission from Jerwood Arts in London, where
Wow.
they commissioned us to make a new piece of work for a show that would be about collectives. So there was us and 3 other collectives in the show. And with that, we were given kind of like free rein to do whatever we wanted to do. And we wanted to kind of have the money to publish our own book, but we wanted to kind of expand that as well. So for that, we made a piece of work that was called Shy Bairns Fill the Void, developing our creative practice. And we kind of took Jerwood's budget and just did the most stereotypical artist development things you could possibly do. We kind of did like group therapy with each other. And it was a really nice like middle part of our practice. I think between when we started and now, I think Jerwood was kind of in the middle, and it was really good
That
to
sounds
take
pretty
some
nice.
time. Yeah, it was great. It was nice to just take some time to kind of be a bit like self-obsessed rather than making work collaboratively with other people or just about that workshop or workshop for a gallery. We were really just tunnel vision on us. And we did lots of stupid stuff like filming ourselves cuddling for like a minute, and we made a book out of that, and that was really, really great. And we got to kind of experiment with not only printing but like video art and stuff like that. And I think this idea of like a book that expands onto gallery walls felt really like what we wanted to do. We also did in 2019, we curated a show for the first time. We got funding from Castlefield Gallery in Manchester to curate a show called Fan Speak. That was all about contemporary artists who've been influenced by fan culture and kind of fandom and fan art. And it was like really, really fun. And I think even though that was still like us with other people's work, it still felt like very our idea and like our baby show that we were doing. And we loved, the artists were amazing. There's trying to think, there's a couple of artists who in particular I was like starstruck working with. Was Maya Ben David, who's an artist based in Toronto. And she's incredible. She makes all of this work about like sexy Pokemon and stuff, and it's like,
See, Pokemon,
yeah,
wow,
it's
sounds really interesting.
madness. Yeah, it's wild, but she makes these really like anthropomorphic characters of herself. I think she did like she was a sexy airplane in a video at one point, but lots of her work links back to fan culture. And we had I'm trying to think else, we had Lydia Blakely, who makes paintings about the kind of based off screenshots that she takes from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and they're like these really beautiful serene images from the Kardashians' houses that I just like don't associate with the Kardashians at all. But yeah, they're gorgeous anyway. But that show was felt like that, along with Jerwood, both felt like something that we were really enjoying. And not in the way that we don't enjoy running workshops and stuff, but I think the last couple of years we've wanted to kind of get more back to things that are just our ideas. I don't know if that sounds a bit selfish, but
I have a question. I have a question for that kind of exhibitions and zines project. Do you make some open call for that collaboration, or
so,
you just invite the artist or writer?
so
What kind of method you
well,
use?
when we've done zines, they've been like open call ones. But when we did the Fan Speak exhibition, because that was all kind of, we had to apply for it. So Castlefield in Manchester has like this really great scheme where they have a associates program that you pay, I think it's around maybe like £50 a year. and you pay in and you get kind of tutorials from the curator of the gallery, Matthew
Oh, that's great.
Pendergast, and you get sent every week, you get like a list of opportunities, and you can also apply for their members exhibitions. And you just send over a proposal, and we got a budget of £2,000 to work with.
That's great. Yeah,
It was
it's
amazing, and
quite
they're
supportive.
such a, yeah, they're a great gallery. They're really, really cool, and they were just great with us. Like, obviously we were very, I mean, I just graduated in 2018 and then did this show in 2019, so I was very fresh out of uni and didn't know that much about budgeting or anything. And they were great.
Yeah, year by year, we are just gonna be crazy about that kind of budget issues, but
Yeah, it just felt like, I don't know, felt like I was gonna go mad and spend it all on sweets or something. But yeah, I think, yeah, those two shows kind of got us more into kind of making, we really wanted to be in galleries or be in art spaces, I think I found. And while I love making zines, I feel like when I can make this like a book that kind of expands and fills a full space, that really feels like what our work should be like. So we've been
also
thinking
they are
about,
just transforming into an installation with this way somehow in the
yeah,
space.
I think it's weird. We keep having a discussion about what we mean by this, and we keep saying bookish, which is just like a word that we've not invented, but that's the word that we keep using for art that kind of feels like an artist book, but it's not an artist book. So we have like we've got like a shared Pinterest board that we all use, and pin things that we are like, that's a book, even though it's kind of not a book. And I think a lot of the stuff we did with Jerwood and the way we tried to present things at Castlefield was kind of fed the start of that. And yeah, we started thinking about that more and thinking about researching that. So last year in lockdown, we did we were meant to do a workshop at the Baltic in Gateshead, which is back up home near where we're from. And we were going to do, they had an artist book fair on, and we were going to do like a survey of all of the people who came to the fair and the exhibitors as well, about, and ask them like really silly questions about artist books. So like, just like, why are zines different from artist books? What's the difference between an artist book and an exhibition catalogue? What's the biggest size a book can be? And just things like that. But
Actually, it's quite important to have that kind of questions.
yeah, I
You
think
just mentioned that those are silly questions, but that silly questions can create a different kind of solutions and answers for us.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was really interesting. So we couldn't do the workshop because of lockdown.
Yeah,
So the fair got cancelled, but then in the end, the Baltic got back to us and said, "Oh, do you want to do it on Instagram?" So we ended up taking over their Instagram for a week. But we did like a week long. It was for a week, and it was just like I think every evening we had a different question on the stories that people could answer. We'd then share all of their answers. So we just had, it was like, I'm trying to remember the other ones. I know we had like, how do you define a book? And we had one that was, we had like a slide, you know, you can do those slide and scale things on Instagram stories. It was one of them.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, we did like an art to book meter. So we'd like put in a work of art or like or whatever, and whoever was watching the story had to decide whether it was art or whether it was a book. So we had like some work by like Louise Bourgeois, that's like the textile books that she made. But then also we had like the Twilight series, which I personally voted that it was art, because I think it is. Yeah, so that kind of formed more research like that. And then we started thinking more about how we could show this work and kind of show the process. And we we were meant to do a residency at a new space that's just opened in Manchester, called Pink, to like a new, it's dead swanky now, but it was just like an unused building, I think. But it's great. But anyway, we were meant to do a residency there, and the idea, when we eventually get to do that, when things are fully open, the idea is to test like a space that would be dedicated to exhibiting this bookish idea.
That's a great idea, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the dream for us would be to have a space that artists could make books and also exhibited them. So there's a space in London called London Centre for Book Arts, which is amazing. It's like I think you can get not like a subscription, I don't know how to say it. You don't have a studio space, but like a membership to it, and they have all this amazing machinery. So they have like risographs, like perfect binding machines. They've got a letterpress studio, and I don't think we'd ever, they're amazing. I think we'd ever be anywhere close to that, but I think the goal would be to have a space where people could make and exhibit books.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, that's when we started a Patreon a few years ago, to get some funding for an exhibition we were doing at the time. And when we started thinking about getting more equipment that people could use and getting more like more of an accessible space, because we currently have a studio, but it is on the top floor of an old mill, and it's got a horrible rickety lift.
Really?
Yeah, we would like somewhere a little bit more accessible. And there's just mouse poo everywhere in the studio.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit grim.
Sounds like a challenge.
But yeah, so we started thinking about ways that we can fund our practice that wasn't just, freelance. We've all got day jobs, but we kind of wanted more of a solid income that wasn't just like these little pockets of commissions that, you don't really, if we do a workshop or whatever, I don't really want to put £100 from that workshop in a pot, because that then leaves us £50 between 3 or 4 of us. It's not even worth the workshop. And
how about government supports? Can you get some government supports for your artist?
So you can.
Is there any possibility?
Yeah, you can apply for. There's an arts council here that loads of people apply for it, and we just haven't yet. I think we've been kind of put off from doing it because we haven't applied for it for so long, that I'm kind of nervous, and we keep waiting to come up with a project, but then we've been in so many other people's projects where they've got arts council funding, but we haven't done the actual application writing. And to be honest, I think we've just been so busy in the last few years that we haven't had time to come up with our own project that would have the requirements from Arts Council, because you need a lot of public engagement and stuff like that. So we've kind of shied away from that. So we were thinking about alternative routes, and as I mentioned, we were already using Patreon a little bit. I think the only people that were really signed up for it were like my mum and dad, like maybe a few other friends that we knew. So
I think day by day there will be more supporters in Patreon page of Shy Bairns, because I think when you make more PR, it's just bringing some good results. And then you're gonna see some new supporters about your project.
I hope so. Well, we decided to give it a revamp at the start of 2020. And it's so weird because we started this project in like January 2020, and then by the end of February 2020, everything had just totally changed. So we've got our zines that we've done. So we decided, we decided that we were going to print a zine every month, to send out to Patreon subscribers. So we made a tier on Patreon where people would pay £10 every month, and at the end of every month they'd get a zine. And the zine was based off a zine that Izzy did when they were in uni called Things I Liked This Week. And it was just like a photocopied zine of things that Izzy had seen and liked. So just like a film that they'd watched, or like a book that they'd just finished, or just like a recipe that they'd copied or something like that. And I think with those ones, Izzy just gave them out for free just around uni and like leaving them places. So we kind of stole that idea and changed it to Things We Liked This Month, and just started publishing kind of ramblings every month. And I think people really like
It's a
it.
big
So,
challenge to print every month, actually. Also, I just wanted to do that kind of zines, but it just made me a bit crazy. I
it's a
couldn't
lot.
find time, unfortunately.
I think with us, there is 4 of us, so you know it's not that much. Like we can kind of delegate jobs to different ones of us, and we have now and again we have like a local printers, Mark the Printers, who are in Salford, who are amazing. And now and again, if we're too stressed, we've had them print it for us. But they're great, and it's nice to have, because we've got a resew, they've got a resew, but we've got different colours, so it's nice to have a little bit of variety.
Do you make any photocopy print or different kind
No,
of print methods?
we just do risograph really.
You are the real people.
Yeah, I'm addicted to it. Honestly, I just think everything's better in risograph. I think, but we've only been able to get our own machine because a mixture between, we got one donated to us from the Miners Hall in Durham, which is where we're from, where they were giving away one for free, a 2-drum machine, which is like unheard of. They're so expensive, and they gave us it for free. And then
That's great. Wow.
yeah, I know, yeah. Very lucky.
A great present.
Yeah, I think we're just really charming.
Yes.
But yeah, and then that one conked out. It was quite old, and we managed to trade that in and then use some money from our Patreon supporters to fund buying a new one. So that's really helped us. It's kind of like all the money that we make from Patreon goes back into making more things and publishing more things, and hopefully at some point it'll go back into helping other people publish things. When we're not really working as like commercial printers at all at the minute, and I don't really want to. I like picking up jobs from not people that we know, but just people who I think are cool or who are doing really good things. I like picking up things from them and doing like design work for them, or workshops or printing for them. But I don't think we want to go down the route of commercial press, which does feel like the only option sometimes when you're doing printing, because I think that's where more money is. But shout,
Yeah.
like, great for the people that can do commercial press. I panic printing other people's stuff too much.
By the way, I already ordered a zine from Bairns.
Oh,
I'm just
great.
looking forward to having it.
Yeah, so for the zine fair, we've got, have I got the right ones? We've got 3 zines, which are
Yeah, those are
guys.
the zines that you exhibit in
Yeah,
fanzineist.com
yeah. So
in the
we've got
virtual
them in the
exhibition.
exhibition, and we normally never sell the Patreon zines separately. So the only way to get them is to kind of sign up to the Patreon, or you can buy older issues, because we always end up with too many issues. You can buy them in a bundle on our website. But for your zine fair specifically, we've kind of set up just like an individual zine, a bit of a taster session for
Yeah,
people. But
it looks pretty cool.
when I went to the studio earlier, and I thought, oh, I'll pick like a few of the copies up that I think I've got all of the ones we've done so far here, which is like, it feels a bit mad now, but I've done like all of these.
Looks great.
Yeah, and it's really nice seeing them all together, and it's really funny to see kind of like this is the most recent one that we printed. So yeah, to see that compared to the first one that we printed, just to see kind of, I don't know how much we've grown even just since January in terms of printing, and just it's grown in thickness, even though we promised that we would just make these like really quick, really easy zines so that it wasn't taking too much of our time or funds. But obviously we've got too attached to making them and have ended up putting loads of effort into them, because I just think that's what you end up doing with a zine. Even if you tell
Yeah.
yourself you're not going to spend that long on it, or you just want to get the information out, I feel like, well, me anyway, I'm just laboring over the details a lot.
But sometimes contents are gonna be one of the most important part of that
Yeah,
scene. So maybe you don't give so much time on it about the design, but your content can be the one of the different one.
a really nice space for us individually as artists as well, because you know, there's no with publishing these monthly zines, there's kind of no pressure for what it's going to be like, because there's no I don't have to wait for people to buy it. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no pressure of putting it online and then being like, oh, no one's bought it, because everyone's already bought it because they've signed up to a thing, so they're getting it whether they like it or not. And you know, there's no like application process to go through. So if I want to write something, so say like I watched, try to think what I've done recently for it. I watched Bo Burnham's new Netflix special and felt really, really passionate about it and wrote a review for it. But there is kind of no, I've got to submit this to a magazine, or I've got to submit this to someone else's zine and hope that it gets accepted. It's just kind of like word vomit and published and done. So that's really nice. And I think we've all found it's been like a really nice way to kind of test out ideas and stuff like that, and just have them see them in print, rather than, you know, if you kind of get into something, and there's a lot of the time with making zines, I feel like I start really liking something and there's like an energy with me and I don't know where to put that energy, and it goes in a zine. And with this one, I think Things We Like This Month is like the perfect place to try those ideas and just kind of like fangirl about something.
Yeah, I totally understand. How about art book fairs and zine festivals in United Kingdom
Yeah, so
or
we
Manchester, let's say?
yeah, I mean, it's weird because obviously we haven't had anything now for like ages, but there's a Northwest Zine Fest that's run by Salford Zine Library, and they're amazing. They do really good events, and Cherry, who's part of setting up for that, runs Chapess Zine, who are published by Synchronized Witches Press, and they're great. I think I interviewed Cherry for my dissertation and was so starstruck by them when I was like baby zine maker. But yeah, that they're great. And then there's a lot of zine fairs in the UK. There's Glasgow Zine Fair, which I've never taken part in. We were in the digital rendition this year.
Yeah, I heard about them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. But Eleanor, who's one of the other Bairns, has just moved up to Glasgow. So hopefully we'll be able to take part in their zine fair when it's back in real life. There's also Swansea Zine Fair. And then there's a lot of stuff in London. I don't visit London enough really, but I know they have the self-publishing artist market. There's too many to remember, but
Yeah.
Northwest Zine Fest I think is our. There's also there's Over Here Zine Fest, which was pre-pandemic, was in Manchester, which is specifically for people of colour zine makers and artist bookmakers. That's really cool as well.
Cool. Yeah, I have seen a long list about Zine festivals and art book fairs from England.
Yeah.
So I hope one day also I'll be coming to England because of this
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's great. I'm really excited for the next time I can do a fair in real life and watch people not buy my work in real life.
By the way, before Corona, were you visiting some art book fairs and Zine festivals in different countries?
No,
Not
I
in England.
never have actually. So pre-pandemic, I really wanted to go to Bergen in Norway. They do the Bergen Art Book Fair,
Yeah,
and
I know that.
yeah, I was looking at that and looking at booking to go, and thankfully I didn't get round to booking before everything shut down. But I would really love to go there, definitely.
Yeah. I have another question. I was browsing a little bit on your website, so
Mm-hmm.
and I came across a series called "Sometimes Books Take Too Long, So I Make." Do you want to talk about these works from that page?
Yeah, I'll have to have a look what's on that. Is this on my website?
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
was
in
just
my
stalking your website.
in my yeah. So yeah, it's kind of funny with my website because I've separated my projects into books or not books because so often all I'm making is books. Um, and yeah, so the stuff that's on there is just like little projects that I've done that don't fit into the book category basically. One, and I guess I don't know because again it's going back into this thing of what is a book, and some of the stuff I look at and I'm thinking that's kind of bookish, so maybe I need a bookish section on my website as well. But
That's a great name. You should make it. I really like bookish.
yeah, so yeah, on that page there's another work that was again at Castlefield Gallery that me and Izzy made. I think the one good thing about Shy Bairns is that we don't always just work as all four of us. We kind of collaborate in different ways. Um, and Izzy is a really amazing printmaker, and they do a lot of lino cuts. So me and Izzy collaborated on the piece on the middle of that website. That is like the long scroll, and that was a piece about chronic illness and werewolves. Um, and yeah, it was nice to collaborate with Izzy and not be making a book, even though the kind of the scroll like thing kind of felt bookish again. Um, Sometimes it's nice to not have the kind of outcome that a book demands. I think as as a bookmaker and an artist, I think a lot of the time books feel like they have to be the end thing. Do you know what I mean? Or like they can't be
Yeah,
revised because you've
I totally
printed it and you've
understand.
made all the copies. Whereas I don't know if people who make sculptures feel that way because you know you can make another sculpture in a series. With a book it feels like they need
I
to be
have seen that type of sculptures, some book sculptures.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, in 2019, in Fanzineist Vienna Art and Zine Fair, there was several kind of book sculptures
Oh
that
wow.
we exhibited.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I can send the link of that project.
Yeah, that would be
It
amazing.
was a really nice one.
Yeah, I think we've got a Pinterest board as well for book sculptures.
This would be great.
Yeah, just collecting photos of them, so that would be perfect.
By the way, you made a publication named Queering Godzilla.
Yeah,
Would you like to give some information about this publication too?
yeah. So, Godzilla is probably the. I mean, I get frowned upon because I love the 1998 terrible American Godzilla. It's just I had it on VHS at my grandma's where I spent a lot of time when I was younger, and she always used to put it on. And I was obsessed with it. And when the new Godzilla came out, the big blockbuster one that's been out recently, I watched that, and then there was a meme about it on Twitter that was something about Godzilla being gay. It was like a fan theory that Godzilla's gay. And I remember reading it and I was just like, what? And then ended up in this kind of like rabbit hole of research about like kind of, I don't know, like through the looking glass of Twitter. You know, when you end up somewhere on the internet and you're like, how did I get here? And I
It's
kind
an endless ocean.
of
You can never know.
yeah, yeah, and I just end up finding all of these memes and these illustrators who, or writers who are writing like Godzilla smut, about like Godzilla being gay for like one of the other kaijus, or and I got really really obsessed with it. And I think what I said earlier about like when I get something in my head and I get really into something, it like needs an output so it can be just put to bed for a bit. So yeah, so I ended up making a zine that was I kind of contacted all of the artists and writers that I could find that had made this queer Godzilla artwork, and compiled that into a zine and wrote a little my own little piece about it. And yeah, it was really fun. It was nice, and it was I did some Japanese stab binding for it as well, which was really fun. I've never made a book like that before, so that felt really nice.
Really?
Yeah,
How many copies did you prepare
I
from that
made,
Queen
I made
Godzilla?
35 copies for that because there has been 35 Godzilla films overall.
Ah, I see.
That's what I was working with, and I tried to do it in kind of the ratio of it is shaped like a VHS box. Um, and yeah, it was, and I worked with like full color Rescraf doing like pretendy CMYK, which was really nice as well. I've never done that before. I would never do it again because it took me ages, but the book looked really nice.
Um, yeah, it looks pretty cool. I would
Thank you.
like to see physically one day.
Yeah, I've got it on issue, just like a digital copy if you wanted to read it.
Ah,
Um,
that's great.
yeah, I've got all my books.
If you send me the link, I can just attach that link
Yeah,
in
sure.
our YouTube video.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's great. I have another question.
Hmm.
How do you distribute your publications? I know all of us try to sell our publications, zines, and art books on the internet
Hmm.
nowadays because of that Corona times, but maybe also you just distribute your publication to bookstores or some certain spaces.
So, things we like this month is on Patreon, obviously, and then we have a big cartel shop. Uh, Owen, who one of the other bands, Owen is like an amazing graphic designer, and they're working on um, building us a website at the minute. So I think we'll move over onto just our website because Big Cartel doesn't really offer anything in terms of, I know like Etsy, you come up in the searches, which
Yeah,
seems better. Um, but yeah, I mean, we do zine fairs. We have that linked. I think Instagram is just like the best way to sell anything at the minute. And
yeah, I agree with you.
it's frustrating because when social media is so difficult, and like when I've tried to take a break from it, you feel like you're kind of losing out on people buying your art and stuff. So it's really frustrating, but it does just seem like the best way to go. We are stocked in a couple of different places. Um, Most recently, a duplicate in London have just started taking on some bundles of our older zines. But we don't, I don't know, we're kind of unorganized when it comes to like finding stockists and stuff like that. I'm quite happy with our little pool of Patreon supporters who are just really great.
And what's the future plans of Shy Bairns, and how about your plans?
I think at the minute we have that residency coming up at Pink Gallery that'll hopefully give us room to experiment with this idea of what bookish is, um, and how to have a gallery and a workspace. Um, and I think, well, we keep going with Patreon at the minute. I'm trying to think what we just keep buying equipment. I know we're going to get a green risograph drum soon. You heard it here first. But yeah, we just got a stapler, like a big tabletop stapler that makes everything so much easier. Um,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, and I think at the minute we're kind of on a bit of a like summer break. We've all had little holidays. So September, I think we've got that residency in October, so it'll be full speed ahead from then.
Cool. If there are any questions for George, you can write your questions in the comment section. She can just give some answers to your questions. Yeah, we are just looking forward to seeing your questions too. And also, I just want to remind something about Fanzineist Vienna Art Book and Zine Fair. Yeah, as I told you before, you can visit 5 different virtual art book and zine exhibitions on fanzineist.com till 26th of August. So this is our last 16 days. You can directly buy from the publishers and artists. So also I'm wondering about your inspiration sources. What are you inspired by? Which
Ooh.
podcast do you listen? Which movies do you watch? And of course, what kind of music do you listen?
I'm terrible with music. I'm not very artsy. I listen to Taylor Swift exclusively, and that's about it. Though that is inspiring for me. I think I get inspiration from films mostly. I'm quite into. I think all of us collectively we're quite into science fiction and fantasy, and I think that comes through definitely in the even like in the concept of fanzine making and the history of that. But definitely within our work and stuff, I think we've made a decent amount of spooky work as well recently. But I think it's just with things we like this month, especially, it's just kind of lived experience and documenting that. And because we started this project just before a global pandemic, it's kind of like, I don't know, I think it feels good to be documenting like an everyday experience of what that's been like, especially there's like a different marginalized identities between all of us, in terms of queerness and chronic illness and stuff. And I don't know, I think it just feels good to be, it feels inspiring to be part of a history of publishing that is just publishing the kind of thoughts and things that people like. I don't know. I think just the self-publishing community is really inspiring to be in.
Yeah, I guess I just finished all of my questions. So would you like to add anything else, or would you like to show more zines that you did, or
Um, I think I think I'm all right. I've flicked through them anyway. If no one's got any questions, that's fine, really.
yeah, this is our last 3 or 4 minutes. So if you have any questions, please write in that comment section and George can just give the answers. There are several questions. So what's your favorite project you've published so far? And what's your favorite Rizo color?
Favorite project I published so far? Oh my god, I don't know. I love doing Queer and Godzilla. I did really enjoy the research for that, and it was just such a silly, fun project. I love doing me and Izzy. I think I've got them here. I've been doing a Christmas scene. So this one, that's my dog on the
Yeah, I
front.
have seen this one too. It looks
Yeah,
pretty
so
cool.
it's just we just make them every December. That was a couple of years ago, and this was last year's. And they're nice. They're just like really fun, like end of year projects that we do. It's kind of nice. It always reminds me of in school when you're in like the last few days before half term and you're just allowed to like bring your Game Boy in and like scribble on stuff. So I like that. It feels very low pressure. And my favorite Riso color, I think.
I guess blue. Blue and yellowish.
Nah, you know
No,
what? That's what we've
wrong.
got. So
Yes.
we've got this really gorgeous sunflower.
Oh, wow.
It's me as a baby there. Sunflower yellow that I love, but I think what takes it for me would be this flat gold.
Yeah, also this one is pretty nice.
That I love.
Color.
Yeah, that's Izzy's. Izzy did a lino cut of Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings kissing. Yeah, I think flat gold is my favourite. We don't have a flat gold drum, but I love working with it when I can.
Perfect. Thank you very much, George.
You're
it
welcome.
was really nice to see you as virtually. I hope one day we can meet at Art Book Fair or Fanzineist Vienna. So
definitely. I'll see you there next year.
Greetings from Austria.
Have a nice evening. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone that came listened.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching us. So, bye. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.